And okay, but wait, make sure that you're able to hear me. Blah, blah, blah. This is a test of the audio coming from the Boca Resort Grand Ballrooms E&F, where the General Assembly will be starting in 20 minutes. There's going to be a delay. Okay. Okay, you're happy?
Yep, I am.
What Rita and I talked about was the only one have your boards, especially giving them out.
Oh.
That we would just, yeah, that we just make the rest. They're all here.
Don't follow them over here. I like your.
Oh, no, no, no. This is the plan.
Here's the chairs right here. This right here.
And Braxton and then we want to change the order.
How about this?
How are you? No worries. Hopefully you have greater access to the services. And then, you know. Yeah. See the other candidates.
Yeah, exactly.
Here for the awards. I'm standing up. I'm going to shoot from here. Perfect. That way we won't have an extra head kind of in the way. Perfect. So we'll be shooting this way.
I'll give the award and I'll step in. Perfect. Someone left this. I don't know whose this is. Changes in traffic law.
That's your new speech. That's the one you're supposed to give.
I'm ready. Oops, that's a lot of me.
Oh, I know you have to face here. You have
Kids
to
here.
come. Actually, this
Is
might
this
work.
gonna
Actually,
be
you
where I'm
guys
right
are
here?
Yeah, that might actually work out
would have to
better.
be mega careful though here, guys.
We need you to pay attention where we're standing
No,
right now.
this is good. You're good. Because you can still be seen. Am I blocking
This
you
is us,
though?
and then
No,
we're
but
kinda
you need your
close
right
then.
hand on the thing, right? Oh, why don't I stand
No,
like
right
this?
hand up, right?
No. Is it right hand up?
Right hand on the book.
That's what I thought.
Oh, is it?
No, right
I
hand
don't
up.
think so. Your
Right
right,
hand
hand's
up.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, left hand on
So
the
this
book.
has to. So he's going to
That
be
is my
here.
Thank you for telling us that.
Thank you.
That works.
He's going to come from here. I'm going to be shooting from here.
So my hand will be up here.
Yeah, because I don't want.
Okay, yeah.
From here, the microphone.
We're not going to get it. If you see here, you'll get Ashley in too.
So, okay.
Jump up onto the stage. I'll do that. So we'll be here.
And then it's my book here.
Okay.
That's even better because
Yeah, it is.
just come if you come in time because he's going to be here. No one will be at the podium, and so if you guys come here, he can get a good shot. Staggered, yeah. So then you can at the front.
Semi-close. You don't want a whole lot.
I was gonna say, actually, if you stand on this side, Paul can stand on this side.
Oh, that's true. And then the kids
Behind
will be.
me. And
The
then
kids will
can
be
in
wherever they
front.
want to be.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Mila, I said,
We'll figure it
Mila,
out.
what do you think? They should be big feet this morning, so everyone's going to. I was have at it. Oh,
We gotta brag about
So then, should I do my
Yeah, I
left
think
hand
if you
then?
stand behind me, then you'll
Yeah,
be out of the way.
I think they'll swear you both in if they say.
yeah, they do. Wait, so I do right hand on the
You'll
book
get
and then
in the
left hand
picture,
up. Yeah.
Is that right?
No, I'm saying.
I feel like you know more
But
than
otherwise,
we do
if you're
at this
behind her,
point.
you're like 3 rows back. You know?
I can-
However
I'll
it
put both
works.
hands up.
I can kind of go like this a little bit. Is that okay? Okay, I'll face him. If he's there though, is he going to block the view?
No, because he's going to be at the microphone and I'm going to be over here.
Okay.
Okay, so should I face towards you or face towards him or face that way?
You want me to see your eyes and you face towards
I'll
here.
face you.
And we're gonna have
Alright.
2 little ones here, so. Okay.
Cool.
All right,
Thank
so
you
I
so
will.
much.
Oh wait, this. Okay.
I'm Mitch, by the way.
It's my husband.
I belong to her.
And this is Paul. Oh, this is
Good morning, sir. How
Thank
are
you for the help.
Thank you. All right,
ready?
should we go sit down?
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. I think we go sit down.
Should we go? So then, should we come up?
I
this
think
way?
so, yeah. And then definitely side stage. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because we're gonna upstairs before you.
Make sure she holds it close to her mouth.
Okay. And it's just on?
I'll control the volume back here.
If I could ask everyone to please take their seats. If I could ask everyone to please take their seats.
So when they come up, you just grab it right here. Doing flames.
We're actually gonna go. This is the official call to order. Please take your seat. All right, we're going to get started now. Imagine that a big group of lawyers and friends and family would be challenging to get seated. Can you all hear me okay? How's the sound? All right, from the back rows, how's the sound? Michael Gelfand says good. Excellent. Wow, it's when all the background noise goes away. Well, it is really great to be together. Good morning and welcome to the General Assembly for the Florida Bar Annual Convention 2023. It's hard to believe that this is the first full in-person annual convention, no Zoom options, since 2019. How really great and great energy it is to all be together in person. The Florida Bar has such hardworking, dedicated professional staff, and they ensure that the Florida Bar is able to do our important work for our court system. And I'd like for you to join me in a round of applause saying thank you to our great bar staff. And I think we should take a moment to pause and to reflect and to thank our Supreme Court of Florida, which helped guide us through very challenging times in the pandemic and to this present day. And we at the Florida Bar are very honored to work with and for the Supreme Court of Florida. A big round of applause. We are here today to acknowledge and celebrate the great work done in the past year and to look ahead to new leadership for any future challenges and any work to be done for our legal profession. We have a really wonderful program today, so let's get started in the best proper way with an invocation. It's my great honor to call up the Honorable Judge Charles Williams to do the invocation.
Thank you. Thank you all. Welcome to all the guests and all the friends and families that have appeared here this morning. First of all, Chief Justice Muniz, on behalf of all the state trial and appellate judges, I want to thank you and your colleagues for your unwavering support, hard work, and advocacy on our behalf. It is a pleasure and honor to be given the privilege of being part of a proceeding that will install my good friend and favorite son of Sarasota and the 12th Judicial Circuit of Florida, Scott Westheimer, as the 75th president of the Florida Bar. Scott, and to your family and friends and your coworkers that are here, I say this on behalf of all of the judges of the 12th Circuit. Congratulations and well-deserved. So if we could all please bow our heads for the invocation. God of many names, creator and sustainer of all that is, or all will ever be, accept our thanks for this day and its blessings. We ask that you guide and direct the members of this great organization and continue to remind us of our obligation to the public and to our clients. We thank you for the profession of the law, to which so many of us here belong, and without which no civilized society can survive. Continue to teach us and remind us that our proper concern is not merely to make a living, but to also to make ourselves useful to society and mankind. Those of us who have taken or will soon be taken oaths, please give us the fortitude and conviction to live up to and be faithful to our oath. To my friend Scott Westheimer, I ask that God give you the strength and patience for the long days ahead as the president of the Florida Bar. And finally, God, we thank you for the opportunities and the abilities you have given us, and may we continue to do your work here on earth And I say all of this in your name and in your honor. Amen.
Well, now it's time for the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'd ask you to stand. I'd like to call up Ayla Westheimer to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to ask you to please join me in a moment of silence for our deceased members of the Florida Bar who passed away in the last year, including two former Florida Bar presidents, Jay White and Terry Russell. Please take a moment to join me in a moment of silence for their memory. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce our head table. We're going from, got this right, my left to my right, which would be your right to your left. I'd like to start with Judge Charles Williams. Thank you for that very meaningful invocation today. I think it helps set the tone properly. Dory Foster Morales, past president of the Florida Bar. Roland Sanchez Medina, president-elect designate. Scott Westheimer, president-elect for just a little bit longer. To my right, your left, Chief Justice Carlos Muniz from the Florida Supreme Court. Colleen Hinkle, co-chair of the Annual Convention Committee. Whitney Unteed, co-chair of the Annual Convention Committee. And the Florida Bar's own executive director, Josh Doyle. I'd like to again thank and acknowledge our Florida Supreme Court. I'd like to thank and acknowledge the past presidents of the Florida Bar that are with us today, and I'll be returning to you in just a bit. And I'd like to thank our Board of Governors and our Young Lawyers Division Board of Governors. I would like to specifically thank our annual convention co-chairs, Whitney Unteed and Colleen Hinkle. This is a really big, massive undertaking. Understand that in years past, last year we were almost there, but we had Zoom options and that sort of things. And I remember at winter meeting in January, Scott and Rolly and I would walk into a meeting room, and there'd be 3 or 4 people there, and there'd be 15 or 16 people on screen. And we made the determination that there wasn't going to be a Zoom option. We can best do our work sometimes together in person. That's actually what's great about Florida Bar work. Working remotely, fine. Zoom hearings, fantastic. But it's really great to be together. Thank you, Whitney, and thank you, Colleen, for the huge lift that you helped oversee to make all this happen. So we have some awards to give out. We're going to start with the President's Awards of Merit. You know, after you give a year of time, it's actually such a great honor for me to recognize those who truly deserve to be honored and recognized. So I have 3 President's Awards, and let's get right down to it. For the first President's Award of Merit, I'd like to call forward to the stage Governor Saya Baker Barnes. Saya, would you please come to the dais? This award recognizes Saya for her exemplary leadership and service as chair of the Program Evaluation Committee, which is generally a pretty heavy lifting position. This is the primary vehicle for reviewing new programs, evaluating current programs, and much, much more. In my entire time on the Board of Governors, I've never seen such a full load and heavy carry as we had this year under PEC with Saya's leadership. I'd like to give you just a sample of her year as chair. 6 sets of section division bylaws revisions reviewed, 12 program evaluations reviewed and conducted, 39 full PEC and subcommittee meetings. That's a lot of meetings. And doesn't include the calls and the Zooms and the emails that go before and after those meetings. 65 rule amendments reviewed for strategic plan adherence. 33 rule amendments substantively reviewed. Saya captained the ship, managed the details and the big picture with this absolutely amazing, almost gracefully easy leadership. Please join me in congratulating Saya Baker Barnes for receiving this President Award of Merit. For my next President's Award of Merit is going to go to Governor Braxton Gillum. Braxton, would you please join me on the dais? I have to admit, the surprise factor of this makes it a little bit more fun. So this award recognizes Braxton's service as legislation chair this bar year, and he was remarkable. I'd like to tell you some key facts about the last legislative session. There were 1,826 bills filed for consideration during the 2023 legislative session. That's a lot of bills. The reality of how things work is it was 356 bills that ultimately passed both chambers. That's a lot. That's actually 71 more than the previous year's legislative session. We also had 2 special sessions during Braxton's term as legislation chair. But I need to tell you something. None of that really matters. And none of that really matters because the bar's position on Capitol Hill is to support the funding of an independent court. And that is our mission, to support the proper funding of our independent third branch. And I can tell you, this is not, from experience, it's not always as easy as it sounds. We have to avoid distractions. We have to avoid any potential landmines, which may or may not make themselves visibly known. So we can work hard on the priorities outlined by our Florida Supreme Court. At all times, Braxton was a great leader, a great communicator, a great partner, a great resource to help the bar's efforts to support the court. I want to express my sincere gratitude to Braxton for how hard he worked to help support our judicial branch. Please join me in giving a round of applause, big round of applause, for Braxton Gillum. The next year, or pardon me, I'm excited about this one for a particular reason, as a father of a daughter. The next President's Award of Merit goes to Governor Josh Chilson. Josh, would you join me on the dais? And Olivia, would you join your father? Josh is being honored for his dedication and hard work as chair of communications. This is another of the really big lift positions on our Florida Bar Board of Governors. In an ordinary year, it's a huge lift. We review all of the communications tools of the Florida Bar News, the Florida Bar Journal. We look at all of our social media platforms. There are many, and much, much more. And that, frankly, would have been enough to keep Josh and the Communications Committee pretty busy. But as it so happened, I had some pretty big plans for things that I wanted to get done this year, and a good amount of that fell on Josh and the Communications Committee. First, there was this new mentoring program, and the Communications Committee, under Josh's leadership, had to create, maintain, and evaluate a communications plan for the mentoring committee. Also easier said than done, because that was being done while the Special Committee on Mentoring was building the program. It's kind of like trying to paint a moving car. Now, fortunately, we had a good idea of what we wanted that car to end up looking like, but Josh put a lot of hard work in that process. The second lift that we rolled out was a public education program called Life's Legal Moments. And the concept is pretty simple. Sometimes people really do need to hire a lawyer. Maybe it's going to buy their first house or sell their second house, have a properly executed will. So under Josh's leadership, we developed a website, FloridaLawyersCanHelp.com. But of course, creating a website is not the answer to most any problem. It's the work that goes from there. We had an aggressive search engine optimization, banner ads, and we were able to partner with other organizations, including many local chambers of commerce. And we worked closely with the Florida clerks and comptrollers, and they shared our information and resources with all of their 67 elected clerks from across the state of Florida. I'm moving this. Because it's extremely essential that while lawyers talk with other lawyers about the importance of hiring a lawyer to protect themselves and their family, it's absolutely essential that we take that message to the public and to make clear to them, you do need lawyers as a trusted advisor in certain important moments in your life. It was a very big lift. Josh worked very hard on all of these issues, and I'd like you to please join me in saying congratulations to Josh Chilson for receiving this President's Award of Merit. Every year at annual convention, the Florida Bar gives out some special awards recognizing certain people who really make our legal profession proud. So I'm going to start off with the Claude Pepper Outstanding Government Lawyer Award. This year, the recipient is A. Bryant Applegate. Brian, I'm told you're here, and if so, would you please join me on the dais? Ooh. Well, it's somewhat awkward. Okay. Second call for Bryant Applegate. All right. In the future, I see myself taking a photo that looks like this. I'd like to tell you about Brian and why he's very deserving of the Claude Pepper Outstanding Government Lawyer Award. He currently serves as the county attorney at Seminole County, a position he's held for 12 years. Before that, and this is a lot, he served as senior counsel for the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development, ethics advisor in the Office of Counsel to the President. Brian also served as HUD's representative in New Orleans for the Emergency Task Force after Hurricane Katrina. He served as co-director of America's Affordable Communities Initiative, working with state and local officials throughout the country to produce plans for affordable housing for America's workforce. Brian is also a pro bono leader. He created a pro bono program helping families with seriously ill children. He's won many awards for his pro bono work, including the Seminole County Legal Aid, the Orange County Legal Aid, and the Young Lawyers section. He was also president of the Florida Association of County Attorneys and won their President's Award, as well as the St. Thomas More Award by the Orlando Catholic Diocese. Please join me in congratulating, in absentia, Bryant Applegate. The next award is called the Marshall Cassidy Award, and it was established in 2012 and recognizes the legacy and attributes of Mr. Cassidy, who served as executive director of our Florida Bar from 1961 to 1980. After he passed away in 2011, this award was created to honor his memory and to recognize extraordinary service to the Florida Bar or any other voluntary bar association in the state of Florida. My selection for the Marshall R. Cassidy Senior Award this year is Mark Miller, the Executive Director of the Florida Supreme Court Historical Society. Mark, would you please come forward? Mark was nominated for this award by several people due to his strategic, collaborative, and big-picture leadership of the Florida Supreme Court Historical Society since becoming Executive Director in 2014. A little word about the Florida Supreme Court Historical Society and what Mark has been able to do. He's put two hands on the steering wheel, and he's led the Historical Society's mission of making sure people understand the importance of a strong, independent judiciary And the Society works to save and maintain for future generations the record and events that have shaped the evolution of Florida's court. Over the past 35 years, Mark has worked directly with more than a dozen statewide associations, and I'm just going to mention a couple. He was the executive director of the Professional Opticians of Florida, the Florida Association of Speech-Language Pathologists and Audiologists, and the Automatic Merchandising Association of Florida. Mark is the past president of the Tallahassee Society of Association Executives. He's also the recipient of the prestigious Management Excellence Award from the Florida Society of Association Executives. In community service, Mark was a founding member of the Tallahassee 25, an organization to aid local underprivileged children. He served on the board of directors for the Tallahassee Habitat for Humanity, and if that wasn't enough, he also was past chairman of the Capital Tiger Bay Club. Please join me in congratulating Mark Miller, the recipient of this year's Marshall R. Cassidy Award. The next award is the Tony Boggs Award for Excellence in Bar Discipline. The Tony Boggs Award is given every year by the president to recognize dedication, integrity, intellectual excellence, and extraordinarily hard work in or on behalf of lawyer discipline efforts of the Florida Bar. My selection this year for the award is Alice Sohm. Alice, would you please come forward to the dais? So let me tell you about Alice. She has a great resume. She's a trial attorney with the U.S. Securities Exchange Commission. She is, in fact, a fellow from Class 2 of the William Reed Smith Leadership Academy. She's a founding member and president of the Asian Pacific American Bar Association of South Florida, and is just an outstanding member of our Florida Bar Board of Governors. But that's not why she's being honored today. We have something called a designated reviewer, and each member of the Board of Governors sits as a designated reviewer on one or more of our grievance committees. And they see the work being done, they oversee the work being done, and they offer their opinions at the appropriate times. So Alice is literally the gold standard for a designated reviewer and the job that she's done for the 11th Judicial Circuit Grievance Committee F. It has come back to me through several sources that she's a very hard worker. She's been a very hard worker on some very complex discipline cases, which ended up in substantial discipline for the respondents in question. She was detailed, followed through, asked questions. Alice really sets the standard for what a designated reviewer should be, that everyone in that role should follow. I'd like to thank you, Alice, for the exceptional job that you have done for the people of Florida who rely on our Florida Bar discipline system that we do on behalf of the court. Please join me in congratulating Alice Sohm, this year's recipient of the Tony Boggs Award. You know, I will really miss working with Josh Doyle. I have learned from an unknown source that Brian Applegate is here. Brian, would you please come forward and accept the well-deserved award? Okay, the final of the special awards that we give every year, it's the G. Kirk Haas Humanitarian Award. It's my great pleasure on many levels to give this award this year. Kirk Haas was a member of the Florida Bar who practiced law in Miami until he passed away in 1987. He was recognized by any who knew him for his humanity, for his ethics, and for his skill and professionalism. And the G. Kirk Haas Award was established in 1998 by then President Edward Blumberg to recognize a Florida bar member for his or her meritorious service to our profession. The award recipient then selects a Florida law school, and a scholarship is awarded to a student at that school who demonstrates an exceptionally high degree of integrity, ethics, professionalism, and a concern for others. My selection for the 2023 G. Kirk Haas Award is Bill Galvano. Bill, would you please join me on the dais? Bill merits receipt of the G. Kirk Haas Humanitarian Awards on many levels. He served the people of Florida from his election to the Florida House of Representatives in 2002 to his service in the Senate, which concluded in 2020, serving 2 years as Senate Majority Leader and 2 years as President of the Florida Senate. While he was in office, Bill was always a great supporter of an independent, properly funded judicial system. And he's been recognized for that by the Florida Bar and many other organizations. But Bill is also a lawyer's lawyer working out of his firm's office in downtown Bradenton. And Bill is the definition of a true community servant, especially when it comes to service in the community. Bill has been recognized by many organizations for his work in K-12 and higher education, healthcare, state infrastructure, protecting children, and supporting people with unique abilities. Bill was the sponsor of the Marjorie Stoneman School Safety Act of 2018, following the tragic school shooting in Parkland. And there's more. Through the annual Phil Galvano Golf Classic, named in memory of his beloved father, Bill has raised millions of dollars for public schools to provide enhanced educational opportunities for students and teachers. As an advocate for the homeless, he's helped serve countless people in the Bradenton area at the Bill Galvano Center at the Turning Points facility. But if you ask Bill what his greatest accomplishment is, without hesitation, he would say his wife, Julie, who's here with us today, and his 3 children, Michael, William, and Jacqueline. Please join me in giving a big round of applause for Bill Galvano, the recipient of the 2023 Kirk Haas Humanitarian Award. So to wrap up this part of the awards show, we're not going to do, favorite actor in a major motion picture. We have 2 awards to recognize the exceptional hard work done by 2 special committees over the last bar year. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give awards to those 2 special committees, and in a minute I'm going to call the chairs on behalf of those special committees forward to accept the award on behalf of the entire committee. Everyone who served on these 2 special committees will be getting awards. They're actually up front. You can maybe come get them before you go if you want. Otherwise, they will be mailed to you. But we're going to start off with the Special Committee on Mentoring Newer Lawyers. I'd like to call Catherine Hurst-Miller and Zach Zierwest forward on behalf of the Special Committee. Please come forward. And I'm happy to announce that we took the special committee, which created this mentoring program, and turned it into a standing committee. A standing committee is a permanent committee of the bar, meaning that it's built into the architecture of the bar and will be able to help newer lawyers for many years to come. Creating a mentoring program for newer lawyers is something that I wanted to do and many others wanted to do for a very long time. And I needed to choose the right leadership, the right partners to make that happen. And I chose wisely when I chose Zach and Catherine. A lot of research, a lot of homework the 3 of us did during my year as president-elect. We researched what other states were doing. We were looking at mentoring programs throughout Florida. What worked, what didn't work. How can we build the best possible mentoring program for lawyers in the United States? The next thing that Zach and Catherine and I did together, because I like to work collaboratively, is we picked the committee together. And we ended up with an amazing dream team of lawyer leaders on mentoring and professionalism. I'd like to list the names of the committee. Well, first, co-chairs Catherine Hurst Miller and Zach Zierwest. I'd like to thank Christina Alonso, Jason Berger, Simone Marsteller, Elizabeth McCausland, Travis Mydock, Clinton Paris, George Piedra, Michael Sasso, John Shafino, Grassford Smith, Ashley Sebesma, and Sierra Willis. Can we give them all a big round of applause? I want you to please understand that when we started our work, when the special committee started their work, there was nothing, truly an empty slate. And everything has been built from whole cloth, from the ground up. So much work went into this, researching the app, working on choices to build out the app and the website, coming up with a name, choosing colors, coming up with the milestones, the key parts of the curriculum that the mentor and mentee would be able to discuss with each other, so they didn't have monthly check-ins with no purpose. The types of discussions that give a robust and meaningful curriculum talking about, well, how do you handle a difficult client? What do you do when your opposing counsel sends you angry emails? Should you, as a new lawyer, send back an angrier email? Will that make you a better lawyer? These types of advice are something that I would imagine everyone in this room has received at one point. Zach and Catherine worked so hard doing the work, overseeing the work, while possibly getting just a few emails from me in the process, just a few. If this were a paying job, Zach and Catherine would get triple overtime and then some. Zach and Catherine and the members of the committee worked very hard, provided great work product and input. This was truly a collaborative process where everyone on the special committee worked together. This is going to greatly benefit newer lawyers, the legal profession, and the public that we serve. Would you please join me in congratulating Zach Zierwest and Catherine Hurst Miller on behalf of the Special Committee on Mentoring. Special Committee on Greater Access to Legal Services. I'd like to call Jay Kim and Wayne LaRue Smith forward on behalf of the Special Committee on Greater Access to Legal Services. This special committee worked harder than any committee I've ever seen at the Florida Bar or anywhere else in my entire life, and I'll explain how that came to be. The work started when we received a letter from the Supreme Court of Florida in April of last year asking us to tackle the greatest challenge to the independent legal profession and the independent judicial branch, the problem of decreasing accessibility and affordability of legal services. This has been greatly exacerbated by the fact that increasingly, members of the public think they have a life problem they can figure out, not a legal problem that a trusted counselor can help them with. I'm grateful to my friend, then President Mike Tanner, who allowed me to be part of the process of selecting this committee, knowing that a lot of the work would be done during my term. The special committee was up to the challenge, and they met every other week. In the intervening weeks, the special committee's subcommittees met on pro se, pro bono legal aid, and overall affordability. That means that this special committee met every week for an hour, sometimes more. For those of us who've served on any committee of any organization, we know there's a lot more work that goes into before and after those committee meetings. The members of the special committee I would like to recognize and thank were co-chairs Jay Kim and Wayne LaRue Smith, Jeremy Branning, Robin Bresky, Hillary Creary, Sandy Diamond, Amy Ferrier, Julie Fry, Gio Giratana, Gordon Glover, Linda Goldstein, Robert Johnson, Maria McCorkle, Jeff Reiner, Alice Sum, and Donald Workman. Jay and Wayne oversaw what is truly a Herculean task, which involved the special committee researching these issues while at the same time trying to draft and come up with workable solutions. After looking at many studies and experiments which failed, The special committee leaned hard into pragmatic, realistic solutions that the court and the bar could implement now and move the needle forward 10 yards. There's no magic wand to solve these issues. And Jay and Wayne worked with the special committee in drafting this report while at the same time serving as the master editors of the final product. We submitted our report and recommendations to Chief Justice Muniz in the Florida Supreme Court at the end of December of last year, and then we conferenced with the court after that. That's not my time. The resulting report and attachments clocked in at 274 pages, and I'll discuss it a little bit more later today. But we are grateful that the court gave the bar this opportunity, and the special committee, led by Jay and Wayne, produced a work product with real solutions that the bar and the court can implement now and make a difference now in meaningful ways, so more people in Florida can have access to legal services. Would you please join me in congratulating Jay and Wayne and the entire special committee? Okay. This is the part of our program where the outgoing president gives the state of the bar, an overview of the last bar year, and some other thoughts. I hereby declare the state of the bar to be good, very good. It's been a very, very busy year, and my comments today cannot do justice to all of the hard work done by so many people. First, I'd like to congratulate incoming President Scott Westheimer and incoming President-elect Roland Sanchez Medina. You've worked so hard for the bar over the years. You know the bar, and the Florida bar will be in great hands under your leadership. I'd like to congratulate Wildy President Iris Elijah on a great year, and congratulations to incoming Wildy President Anisha Patel. And incoming Wildy President Ashley Edwards. The applause beat my finishing the sentence. I have to work on my cadence. To my friends who have served as presidents of the Florida Bar over the years, I certainly now well understand all the hard work and choices that come with this position. I thank you for the hard work that you've done, setting the path for me and other bar presidents to follow. Thank you for the counsel and advice that you've given me during my term as president, and I will be joining you, well, pretty soon, apparently. Thank you very much. And I would be, let's give them a round of applause. And since this is my last time at the microphone, I think it's important to, again, strongly acknowledge and thank the amazing professional staff we have at the Florida Bar. You won't find a better, more professional group to work with anywhere, and it starts at the very top and goes down to everyone who works at the Florida Bar. I will miss working with you very much. And finally, I would like to thank each and every member of our Florida Bar Board of Governors who I had the greatest honor of working with this year. We did work really hard. I know I keep saying that, but we did. At our regular board meetings, our virtual board meetings. I'll put it to you this way. When I first came onto the Board of Governors 12 years ago, I remember one of the speakers, they kept talking about my bar family. My bar family. And I thought to myself, what are these people talking about? Family? I'm going to be on the Board of Governors for like 4 years, and then I'll just move on. Well, that prediction turned out to be untrue. But I get it now. I absolutely get it now. I think of what I said a year ago when I quoted Harry Truman. It's amazing what you can get done if you don't care who gets credit for it. That's the epitome of the work that we do at the Florida Bar Board of Governors. I would like to thank you for the honor of working with you, my colleagues, and my friends. As it so happens, this ends 25 years of Florida bar involvement for me, beginning with my first committee appointment. It's been a long and great journey that led me to this day, completing my term as president of the Florida Bar. And I'm very fortunate and grateful that path included serving as president-elect during the year of president of Michael Tanner. Mike's top priority was professionalism, and he put me and others to work on the Special Committee on Professionalism. That committee worked very hard with some good recommendations to meet Mike's vision, and that will improve the level of professionalism here in Florida. And we look forward to hearing from the court on that in the months ahead. Great work, Mike, and thanks again. As I said more than once, we've had a very busy year. I want to focus on three main topics. First, I will return to the topic of mentoring new lawyers. Just a few weeks ago, we launched a new website. The program itself is called Counsel to Counsel. I again want to thank Zach and Catherine and the whole committee for their exceptionally large amount of work. I think the amount of work they put in is just immeasurable. A year ago, I said the Florida Bar would have the best mentoring program in the United States of America. And folks, I think that's what we accomplished. We focused on three lawyers or less at a firm with 3 or less years experience. Membership is essential in the professional development of lawyers, especially now when many hearings and depositions are virtual. They're not going to meet lawyers in the hallway. They're not going to sit in the back of a courtroom and watch how lawyers properly handle themselves in front of a judge. All of those opportunities are largely lost. We identified right away that the biggest challenge would be identifying and recruiting mentees into the program. So we made the program as user-friendly as possible. We selected an app called MentorClick, which is a mentoring program for Fortune 500 companies, nonprofits, and now the Florida Bar. And Zach and Catherine and the committee vetted several before they settled on this. There's a lot of great attributes of this particular app. Everything goes through the app, and the sign-up process takes just a few minutes. In order to test how quickly you could sign up to become a mentor or a mentee, Zach and Catherine had to identify someone with very low-tech abilities, and then we would measure how long it took that person to actually sign up. The person was me. Put in your name, basic information, your preferences for, do you want an in-person, do you want virtual, practice area, some information about your personality. It's 3.5 minutes. And the goal is, with a meaningful match, there's a greater chance that that mentoring match will end up into a real relationship. And we all know that the best mentoring happens when there's a real relationship. I have had people who mentored me over the years, thank God, and I'm still in touch with them years later. The impact of mentorship goes throughout our entire legal career. The special committee collaboratively took a lot of time to develop milestones. Milestones would be talking points. Monthly check-ins don't work. We saw these mentoring programs. Sure, you check in every month. How's it going? Oh, it's going great. Talk to you in a month. That provides nothing. Who's telling a newer lawyer to get involved in a local voluntary bar or legal aid? Get involved at your church or synagogue. Do a pro bono case. These are the types of advice that we've all received from mentors in the course of our career. We're very appreciative of the support of Chief Justice Muniz and the entire Supreme Court of Florida for counsel to counsel mentoring. This will be a game changer for new lawyers and the mentors and the profession. The other big winner here will be the public that we serve that will benefit greatly from higher skill and higher professionalism for those who go through the program. I'd like to talk quickly about life's legal moments, which I discussed before. Reaching the public. I think many people are concerned about the growing gap between the legal profession and the public we serve. And it's not going to be solved by advertising and by SEO. That may help connect lawyers to some clients, but what about all of the people in Florida who really need legal help? When it's buying your first house, selling your second house, having a properly executed will so you can leave your belongings to loved ones so it doesn't end up in unnecessary proceedings because of a homemade or an online will. Those who are in the probate field can tell you it's a really, really big problem. Maybe you're a small business owner and you've just signed a lease or some other document that you've personally guaranteed, putting yourself and your family's financial health at risk. We push this message out with the website, banner ads, SEO, and as I mentioned before, we very meaningfully partnered with local chambers of commerce. I myself spoke at several local chambers, as did other members of our Board of Governors. That needs to keep happening. We as lawyers need to go into the public square and explain what lawyers do to help people. I'm grateful to Carolyn Timmon, the outgoing president of the Florida Clerks and Comptrollers. She took our information and resources and shared it with all of her members, all 67 independently elected clerks of court. And our materials on that website are information for the public. How do you find a lawyer? How do you hire a lawyer? How do you choose a lawyer? What is board certified? Interestingly enough, the part of FloridaLawyersCanHelp.com that got the most traction was the site for how to find a local legal aid in your area. The final thing I want to talk about just a little bit more is the issue of overall affordability and accessibility of legal services. There are people who think they just can't afford a lawyer. They've decided that's so they don't make the call. There are studies that show that an increasing number of people think, I don't have a landlord-tenant problem. I have a problem, with my guy, my landlord. I'll figure it out. I don't have a legal problem. I'll work it out. Or I'll talk to my sister. She's pretty smart. There are people who don't realize they have a wrongful termination issue. They think they have a problem with their boss, and maybe their friend can give them some meaningful advice. This has been a worsening problem for decades. It's an issue that has to be tackled in the trenches because that's where the problem exists. So when the bar received the letter from the Supreme Court of Florida in April, then President Mike Tanner and I collaborated. We picked just a fantastic committee who worked very, very hard. I've spoken with you about how hard they worked, meeting essentially weekly. Our hard work and research supported the position. There's no magic pill. There's no magic wand. There's no experiment that we can use to test things. Those experiments, when they've been tried elsewhere in the country, have failed to deliver more affordable and more accessible legal services. But there are pragmatic and realistic solutions which can move the ball forward 10 yards down the field at a time. We just have to keep doing that with the independent legal profession and the independent judicial branch front and center of those efforts. So I said our report was 274 pages long. I'm not going to go through the report. I've learned a lot this year, and one of them is to keep your eye on the clock and keep your eye on the crowd. I like to hit just a few highlights because it's important that you know. For pro se litigants, there are people who have valid claims that they should be able to bring. We don't want them to file cases and have them dismissed and refiled 5 and 6 times or more. It's a tremendous burden for our clerks and on our courts. We recommended an entity that could push out a pro se civil cover sheet, and through that resource, other forms that pro se litigants can use. And we'll have uniform, consistent data throughout the state of Florida. We also repeated the recommendation of an online platform for resolution of lower value cases. $1,000, $2,000, there's not a long line of lawyers who want those cases. But folks, $1,000 or $2,000 is a lot of money to a lot of people. And we have to make sure that they have redress through our system if we want them to believe in our system. In the world of pro bono legal aid, we had 2 primary recommendations. One was a rule change to clarify that advertising rules don't apply to legal aid. That's not the case. It's certainly not clearly the case. So first, legal aid organizations wouldn't have to go through the part of pre-screening ads that goes with our advertising regime. They are not getting pecuniary gain. And we want legal aid organizations to be able to reach people in need before the problems become too severe or before it becomes too late. Also, we recommended that law students could become certified legal interns in a legal aid setting after 1 year of law school. For a couple reasons. I mean, I made the joke. Was anyone really more ready to be a lawyer after 2 years of law school than 1? Anybody? Not seeing any hands going up. This does 2 things. This gives law students more opportunity to work in a law-type environment. And importantly and purposefully, imagine if every legal aid organization in the state of Florida suddenly had 1 or 2 certified legal interns. How many people who weren't being helped with their legal needs would be helped? Overall, affordable legal services, we recommend taking a look at Chapter 9 of the rules regulating the Florida Bar, which governs prepaid legal service plans. Let's make the rule clearer. Let's make it easier to create those plans, to participate in those plans. When the Special Committee on Greater Access to Legal Services did all of its work, we met with the 2 leading service providers, and they told us that by best estimate, 3% of the need in Florida is being met. There's a great opportunity to expand those opportunities so more people in Florida can have affordable legal services. Thank you again, Jay and Wayne and the Special Committee. Florida can and will be a leader in increasing affordable, accessible legal services to the citizens of Florida that other states will follow. Well, it turns out a year can go by pretty quickly, and serving as Florida Bar President has done just that. Being Florida Bar President has been another full-time job, and maybe a full-time job plus overtime, but a very rewarding one. Over the last year, I've traveled all over Florida. I've gone to judicial circuits a second and a third time. The best ballpark estimate is a little under 200 speaking engagements where I spoke with lawyer groups and non-lawyer groups. That felt like a lot. But connecting with and listening to lawyers, and connecting with and listening to members of the public across the state is such an important part of this job. Of course, being able to do this job would be impossible without the proper support network. I'd like to thank my partners, Mickey Smith and Joe Landy, who are here today. I'd like to thank my close friends who have been with me on this journey, sometimes dealing with me when I'm a little cranky, when I'm taking a vacation. And I'd especially like to thank my eldest daughter, Lillian, recent law school graduate. And I would like to especially thank my favorite member of the Florida Bar, who I love, my wife, Jennifer Lesser. It's been the greatest honor of my professional life to serve the court and our legal profession as president of our Florida Bar. Together, we've been able to work hard and help our legal profession, our independent courts, and the public we serve. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to have been able to do so. Thank you. I got a little carried away there and forgot where I was in the program. Thank you, Chief Justice Muniz. I would like to recognize the Leadership Academy Class 10. Please stand and be recognized. I would like to ask the 2023-2024 YLD Board of Governors to come forward. They are going to be sworn in by Chief Justice Muniz.
Congratulations to all of you. If you could please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, Florida Constitution, the rules regulating the Florida Bar, and the bylaws of the Young Lawyers Division. And I further agree to carry out to the best of my ability all responsibilities pertaining to my office. So help me God. Congratulations.
It is my honor to call forward former president of the Young Lawyers Division, Adam White. Come forward and introduce the incoming president of the Young Lawyers Division, Anisha Patel. Give him a little applause. I mean, you know, there we go.
Good morning. My name is Adam White, and I practice law in Pensacola, Florida. And I had the honor of serving as a board member and then president of the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division Board of Governors. As many of you know, the YLD Board of Governors is considered the workhorse of the Florida Bar. This brilliant group of people come from all over the state with big ideas and intense personalities, which is helpful as we're facing complex challenges in the practice of law in Florida. And it takes an incredible amount of dedication to lead those attorneys. I'd like to publicly thank Anisha for not running against me, as it would have been a landslide victory in her favor. That's because Anisha Patel is, and always has been, the perfect person to be president of the YLD. My first impression was that Anisha was a perfectionist. In our first email exchange, she turned her YLD member profile in closer to the deadline than she liked, and she apologized profusely. It was an entire week early. This is the type A personality that I aspire to have. My first impression personally was how nice and kind that she was. Apparently, I had been duped by her Britishness. Everything she says automatically comes across as polite, sophisticated, and intelligent. Even mean banter is softened by her accent. This can actually sometimes make things a bit awkward for a person like me, a gullible Midwesterner. For instance, just a moment ago, right before I walked on stage, I found out that Anisha was actually being sarcastic when she had said she wanted me to introduce her today. So the only reason I'm still here is out of pity, because my firm won't reimburse me if I don't speak. Anisha's path to this moment has not been easy. She doesn't hail from a long line of lawyers. She didn't grow up with tutors, prep schools, and extracurriculars. She had a difficult upbringing, including a biological father who was absent and often involved with the wrong crowd, and their family home was foreclosed on. What she did have was a loving mom and brother. She and her brother were championed and protected by a courageous woman doing her very best with limited means. They were taught the importance of being industrious. And as she came into young adulthood, all three were contributing members of the family, financially and domestically. This is perhaps what makes Anisha a natural leader, her belief in teamwork. Through all of this, Anisha completed her primary and secondary education, and then went on to earn an undergraduate degree in law from the prestigious London School of Economics, and then subsequently completed law school and passed the bar of England and Wales. It was at this point that had Anisha stayed in England with her first legal education, she could have maintained her title as a barrister. But just like Prince Harry, Anisha fell in love with an American. Her husband, Mitch. And just like Prince Harry, she was stripped of her barrister title. They took back her wig, and she was kicked out of England, where she took safe haven in the good old US of A, where we can all agree that French fries are not chips that tea is dumb and that coffee is amazing. After moving to Florida in 2010, Anisha faced significant obstacles in employment and had to pick up non-legal odd jobs. One of these included actually working retail at the mall. After about her 7th odd job, she found a legal secretary job in St. Petersburg. And it was at that firm, under their encouragement, that she enrolled in Stetson to earn her U.S. law degree, proving that she is truly insane and that the English really are tougher than we are. I mean, really, who of you would have wanted to go to law school twice? It was at Stetson, where, by the way, she graduated first in her class while working full-time as a paralegal at Hillward Henderson. It was there that she was highly involved in the law school division of the Board of Governors. And it was at this intensely stressful and busy time in her life that she knew the YLD was an organization that she would one day like to lead. In other words, Anisha understands and values that hard work is what it takes to reach your goals. She and Mitch do everything together. They got Anisha through law school, both working demanding full-time jobs. Next, they took on the arduous task of getting her mom to move across the pond so they could all be together. When Mitch and Anisha had children, they took his work on the road so that Anisha could be both an active board member and a doting mother. When Anisha decided to run for the presidency, Mitch, whom Anisha calls the fun one of the pair, got to know every member and their families. They are a perfect team. So to sum up just who Anisha Patel is, she's a devoted wife to her hilarious husband, Mitch. She's an amazing mother to those two munchkins over there. She's an adoring daughter and is still championed at all events by her amazing mom. Anisha is my 11 p.m. phone call, 12 a.m. her time, when I struggle with a board or a professional decision. She is a shining example of what a person with tenacity is capable of. Simply put, Anisha represents the best of us. It is my extreme honor to introduce to you my colleague and my dear friend, Anisha Patel.
Thank you for that introduction, Adam. I always worry about inviting him to speak anywhere since he spent his entire presidency looking at a camera. But lucky for me, Adam delivers every time. Adam, I know you already know this, but I'm truly thankful for you. Your style of leadership, being pragmatic, professional, and true productivity is really what set me here today. Thank you for being here and always being my go-to. Before I get to speak to you about the 23,000 young lawyers in Florida, I now have the honor of introducing my president-elect, Ashlia Edwards. Ashlia is an attorney at Ackerman in Jacksonville, where she focuses her work on employment litigation and counseling. She received her undergraduate degree from Louisiana State University and her JD from Florida Coastal School of Law. She is involved in many bar associations and is a former president of the Jacksonville Bar Association Young Lawyers Section. If a president-elect's role is to help and support the president, I am truly lucky to have Ashlia by my side. Ashlia and I joined the board at the exact same time in 2006, and she has been by my side ever since. For those of you who don't know Ashlia yet, she is one of the hardest working people I know, loyal, and a true joy to work with. Ashlia is a constant source of enthusiasm and guidance, and I'm proud to call Ashlia my friend and our president-elect. Today is extra special because I get to welcome to the stage not only Ashlia, but her husband, Paul. Paul, we're in this odd situation where my son thinks you're his brother, which makes me your mom. And while we'll tell him the truth someday, we won't do it just yet. Mitch and I are thrilled to be able to share this next year with you at Ashlia's side. Joining my husband, Mitch, and my children, Mason and Mila, please help me welcome incoming President-elect Ashlia Edwards and her husband, Paul.
Would you like to shake the judge's hand? Nice to meet you. It's right here. Shake the judge's hand? Yeah. Would you like to shake? Shake. Mila?
Okay, come stand here.
Congratulations to you both. If you could please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
to uphold, protect, and defend
to uphold, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Florida Constitution,
the Florida Constitution,
the rules regulating the Florida Bar,
the rules regulating the Florida Bar,
and the bylaws of the Young Lawyers Division.
and the bylaws of the Young Lawyers Division.
And I further agree
And I further agree
to carry out to the best of my ability
to carry out to the best of my ability
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you, Justice. I know, it's great, we're on TV. Come on.
I want to see.
Chief Justice Muniz, Justices, President Lesser, President-elect Westheimer, President-elect Designate Sanchez Medina, Executive Director Doyle, Board of Governors, colleagues, family, friends, and the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division. The first time I attended the bar's annual convention was exactly 10 years ago. I was finishing my first year of law school, and I was watching the General Assembly in this same hotel, probably in the same room, wondering if I could ever be standing here today. To say that my professional dreams came true today would be an understatement, and I'm incredibly proud to be the first Indian American president of the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division. As you've heard, I was born in London, England, and while my earlier years were certainly not easy, I always knew that with hard work and a little help along the way, that I could do anything that I set my mind to. I was certainly well on my way to fulfilling my dreams of being a barrister when I met my husband, Mitch. Like no other love story you'll hear today, he stood me up on our first date, and I still agreed to marry him, move here, and do law school for a second time. But that was the best decision I ever made for multiple reasons. When I enrolled at Stetson University College of Law, I joined the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division Law Student Division. Serving on the Law Student Division began my involvement with the YLD, and serving on the YLD for the last 6 years has been the epitome of bar service for me. And I really couldn't have asked to do it with a better group of lawyers. I've consistently found myself surrounded with the best and most dedicated young lawyers in Florida, and it is a true honor to work alongside all of you. I said this yesterday, but Iris, I will truly treasure our time together, and to the Board of Governors, you will retain our reputation as the workhorse of the Florida Bar, with all of you leading the charge this upcoming year. Thank you for your hard work, your commitment, and your unwavering service to the young lawyers of Florida. Please stand and let me and everybody here recognize you for your work. The YLD couldn't be complete without Mr. Tom Miller, our program administrator of the YLD. You are the YLD, and we love you, and we couldn't do our work without you. Thank you for your 15 years of dedicated service. Please stand. Of course, the work of the YLD would not be possible without the support of the Florida Bar and Florida Bar staff. To President Lesser, congratulations on a productive year, and to incoming President-elect Sanchez Medina, thank you. It's been wonderful getting to know you, and thank you for being such a true joy to work with. To incoming President Westheimer, I don't think I can put into words how truly supportive and helpful you've been this year. The YLD greatly appreciates its close relationship with you, and I personally cannot thank you enough for your leadership and your friendship. I look forward to supporting you and the bar in any way I can this year. Speaking of this upcoming year, the Wildies theme is professionalism in practice. Consistent with the Florida Bar's core function, it is the Wildies' role to ensure that young lawyers are given the tools and education they need to exhibit the highest standard of professionalism, remain out of the disciplinary system, and ultimately excel in the legal profession. While I want to tell you everything that we'll be working on this year, it's already been about 2 minutes and there aren't enough M&Ms in the world to keep my children occupied. So I will highlight just a few of the initiatives we'll be introducing this year. First, our Wildie Practicing with Professionalism Committee, chaired by Paige Comparado and Jeanette Sanchez-Aslan, will ensure our Practicing with Professionalism seminar, which is mandatory for lawyers in their first year of practice, will include a mandatory segment on discipline. The committee will also launch a Professionalism Academy designed to provide young lawyers with the very best in professionalism content and education. Subcommittee Chair Haley Van Vlieteren will also launch the Wildies 36 Under 36 Professionalism Awards to honor young lawyers across Florida who exhibit the highest standards of professionalism in their practice. Second, the Transition to Practice Committee will be working on 2 new programs this year. Subcommittee Chairs Tiffany Hilton and Warren Chin will host a Wildie virtual fair this fall, which will include seminars on professionalism, discipline, practice-driven education and CLEs, a job fair, and training and resources targeted and directed to every type of young law student in Florida. Subcommittee Chairs Michael Levine and Ben Thomas will also launch the Wildies Practice Series webinars, which are designed to guide young lawyers through different cases and transactions from beginning to end in 9 months, with an emphasis on practice areas that complement pro bono needs in Florida. Third, with help from Chairs Selena Patel and Randall Baskin, the Wildie will focus its efforts on the needs of law students, and I am committed to ensuring the Wildie board and myself visit every law school this year to share information on the bar's resources and the disciplinary system. In addition to these initiatives, and to ensure that young lawyers have the very best in substantive education they need, CLE chairs Alexandria Nicodemi and Altanese Fenales have already begun their work to ensure that the Wildie produces mandatory basic skills courses in each significant area of practice for our young lawyers, and our entire board will be assisting with this effort. With all that the Wildie plans to achieve this year, you may wonder what my life will look like. The truth is, I'm incredibly lucky to have the best support system in place. To my mum, Ramila, life has never been easy for us, and certainly not for you. I'm so proud to be your daughter, and I can't thank you enough for all the struggles you endured on our behalf and sacrifices you continue to make so I can stand here today. If you see my mum today, please join me in letting her know that she's the best mum ever. I'm so glad I paid for makeup today. To my brother Jason, thank you for helping to raise me. While we've only ever had each other, I wouldn't have it any other way. To my sister-in-law Lena and my 18-month niece Liana, for all the joy you bring into our life, thank you. To my Aunt Asha, thank you for flying here from Missouri to be here today. For anyone who's been to Missouri, you'll know that it wasn't a difficult choice. But you are the strongest woman I know, and I get my strength from you, so thank you. To my son, Mason, you are my best friend, and my greatest joy in life is being your mom. To my daughter, Mila, you completed our family and you completed our hearts. And I know that I'll be sitting at future ceremonies for you as you take over the world, hopefully legitimately, but we really can't be sure with you. To my amazing husband, Mitch, you're the real MVP here. You've been managing a busy career, and somehow you found a way to travel the state with me for the last 6 years, and with 2 kids in tow. We will be celebrating our 13th wedding anniversary in a few weeks, and I still don't know how I got lucky enough to be with you, even though you stood me up. Thank you a million times over for our entire life. To my firm and my colleagues at Hill Ward Henderson, I started with the firm in my first year of law school, and I'm incredibly lucky to have spent the last 10 years with you all at our small office in Tampa with 120 other lawyers. While I can't name each and every one of you personally, please know how grateful I am to all of you for bringing me here today, but also for making me a better lawyer every day. I would be remiss, however, if I didn't mention 2 people. Mr. Ben Hill. As one of the founding partners of our firm, past president of the Florida Bar, and past president of the YLD, you are the epitome of hard work, professionalism, and bar service. It is an honor to work with you, sir. And to Regina, I won't say her last name because I know at least some of you will try to steal her. Thank you for being the most wonderful assistant I could ever ask for. I'm so grateful for your help and your friendship. Practicing in the 13th Judicial Circuit also means I've been incredibly blessed with having additional mentors and friends in my life. Thank you for welcoming me into the circuit all years ago and for carrying me along the way. To the YLD, for everything, thank you. Florida's young lawyers are better off because of the work that you do every day. You truly are an inspiration to me and everybody else that I know. And to the young lawyers of Florida, as my son's favorite artist, Ed Sheeran, says, I always knew that you just have to work harder than everyone else because there's always going to be someone that wants it a little more than you. If you've attended law school in the last 5 years, graduated, and passed the bar, there can be no question about your work ethic or your commitment. What matters is that you're given the tools and the opportunity to succeed. The Young Lawyers Division is here to help with that, and so am I. As you've heard today, I know what it's like to start something new in some place new and be the someone new. My promise to you is that with hard work, your something new will be your experience. The someplace new will soon feel like home. And instead of being the someone new, you will be the future leaders in our profession. Thank you all very much for listening. I am so incredibly grateful that I get to stand here before you all today as president of the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division, and I look forward to serving the young lawyers of Florida. Thank you.
Well, I think saying congratulations, President Anisha Patel, isn't even sufficient. Congratulations, President-elect Ashley Edwards, and congratulations to the members of the Young Lawyers Division Board. Really the workhorses. Great, great work. At this point in time, I would like to ask the 2023-2024 Board of Governors to come forward to assemble in front of the dais. And I would like to request that Chief Justice Muniz swear you in. That's Board of Governors. There we go. Compress a little closer together, says Jennifer Krell Davis.
Congratulations, and I just want to say the court and I really look forward to working with you to serve the state and the lawyers of our state in the upcoming year. If you could please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, the Florida Constitution, and the rules regulating the Florida Bar. And I further agree to carry out to the best of my ability all responsibilities pertaining to my office. So help me God. Congratulations.
I would like to recognize my friend, George Piedra. Ask him to come to the podium and introduce our friend, incoming President-elect Roland Sanchez Medina.
Good morning. Is this broken? Good morning. We're almost through here, so I'll leave it to the YLD to bring the excitement. My name is George Piedra. I'm a partner at Kozak, Tropin, and Throckmorton in Coral Gables. I have the honor of introducing my very dear friend, Roland Sanchez Medina, as the incoming president-elect of the Florida Bar. Now, I've known Roland most of my adult life, and I certainly have a lot of stories and a lot to say. But my first question, when asked to introduce Roland, was, will the Supreme Court be there? Scott Westheimer, who was part of the conversation, immediately said, yes, George. I got a little nervous and asked him, how much time do I need to kill? Scott said 5 minutes. I immediately thought, and quite frankly verbalized, how am I going to talk about Roland for 5 minutes with content that is appropriate to say before the Supreme Court? So with that, I cede the rest of my time to Dory Foster Morales so that she could introduce Scott Westheimer. Of course, I'm kidding. I felt completely safe in starting my introduction that way because after knowing Roland for 30 years, serving on boards with him, serving as co-counsel, serving on the CABA board, the Board of Governors, hosting fundraisers, I knew there was absolutely no chance that Roland would be here on time to hear any of that. I'm shocked he's here. It's the end of the program. Now, before I talk about Roland, I want to take a moment of personal privilege to warn Scott. Scott, whatever you do, do not get in the car with Roland driving. He's very persuasive, but don't do it. And to the extent that you do, I'm asking Executive Director Doyle to refresh himself on our succession protocol, because we certainly don't want an Alexander Haig moment with Jon Stewart trying to retake the reins. I could have said other people. Roland is an impressive individual, lawyer, and leader of the community. Although he went to the wrong high school, Belen Jesuit in Miami, and that was for you, Governor Martinez, and the wrong college, the University of Miami, he did earn his JD from Boston College and went on to earn an LLM from NYU. Yes, folks, Roland has an LLM in taxation from NYU. He worked at some of the best and biggest law firms in Miami as a baby lawyer and as a young partner, before going to strike it out on his own and building an impressive law firm of more than 30 lawyers, which he leads and which bears his name. As a lawyer, Roland focuses his practice on corporate and securities law, a top-notch and highly respected transactional lawyer in South Florida and beyond. I know this because he's my go-to transactional lawyer. He's an impressive deal maker with incredible attention to detail. One of his best talents, and this transcends everything Roland does, is releasing the tension in the room and making everyone feel comfortable. Why I repeated that he had an LLM and his impressive resume is that Roland's humility and his sincere, self-deprecating sense of humor is so genuine that you forget how wicked smart he really is. He disarms his opposing counsel and the other parties making them his friend, and forcing them to want to make a deal with him. This is a natural talent that cannot be taught. Roland is also a highly respected community leader. He was president of the Cuban American Bar Association, president of the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, a member of the Orange Bowl Committee, and of course, served on this Board of Governors where he chaired most of our important committees. His humility, sense of humor, and genuine charms helps him build relationships like no one I've ever met. Everyone knows Roland, everyone loves Roland, no one wants to disappoint Roland. Roland is also an amazing father. He's so proud of his kids, and he should be. His daughter Mariana graduated from Harvard and is in medical school at Emory. His daughter Alessandra is a student at Vanderbilt, and his son Christian is a talented musician at Gulliver High School in Miami. I love to hear the stories that Roland tells of the travels with his children and how much time he dedicates to them. Roland is also a great friend. All of us who know Roland know he is present. He makes you feel like you're the only person in the room. Even with everything he has going on, all the balls in the air, he looks you in the eyes, he listens, and he responds. He will give you a hug, and then he will give you a kiss. Yes, Roland is the king of the man kiss. In fact, Justice Curiel, I'm going to need your help with this. I can't wait for that moment when Roland gives his first man kiss to Justice Muniz. I need you to capture it. It might happen in a few minutes. Roland will take the shirt off of his back for anyone. At the same time, and I swear this is true, if he likes your shirt, he will ask for it. I've lost a few shirts to Roland, and I even picked up a jacket that he left in my car after taking it from one of our clients. So he'll take off his shirt for you, but he will also ask for it if he likes it. It is for all of these reasons and all of these talents that I'm absolutely Roland will be an incredible president-elect and then president of our Florida Bar. I'm incredibly proud and honored to introduce him as our next president-elect. Congratulations, Roland.
Good morning. Now I really regret not reminding my wife to bring that Xanax. She probably would have kicked in by now. Some of you may know that it's not typical for the president-elect to speak at the General Assembly. However, because of my father's declining health, some people at this table showed some real grace and allowed me to give me an opportunity to speak today about family. As an aside, I will tell you, I predict Scott Westheimer will be the best president the Florida Bar has ever had. And I hope to do my part to ensure that. Before I get to my nuclear family, I do want to mention different families that I've joined over the years that really made me the person I am today. I'm going to read my speech because I'm a crier and I will be crying throughout this thing, and it'll be 12:30 and I would have gotten through my speech. See, I was born in Cuba. My father moved us to the Belgian Congo. Spent some time in South Africa where we received political asylum. But like all good Cubans, we eventually ended up in Miami, Florida. And at that point, the only family that I knew was my father, my mother, and my sister. That started to change when I arrived in Miami. after law school, I joined the Cuban American Bar Association, some of which are here to support me. As I like, or otherwise known as CABA. As I like to say, I'm a child of CABA, and I wouldn't be here but for the passion that CABA demonstrated in me and the passion that I had for CABA. Those boards and past presidents similarly made me the person I am today. A few years after my presidency at CABA, I joined the Board of Governors of the Florida Bar. I can't begin to describe the open arms, the warmth with they welcomed me. Jack Harkness in particular, and every single past president since Jesse Diner, and the members of the Board of Governors I served with also made me the person I am today. But for their encouragement in this group back here, but for their encouragement and support, I certainly wouldn't be standing here today. I would be remiss by not telling this audience, but most of the members of the Board of Governors know, that Josh Doyle is the best executive director in this country. And he's built among the best staff in this country. We're so very fortunate. Along the way, I helped start a firm, SNGQ Law. We take a lot of pride in being a family at work. And in particular, I want to thank Peter Gonzalez, Pablo Casada, Mike Montiel, Karen Alvarado, and Gladys Abraham. Once again, I wouldn't be here without them. I have a couple other families, Belen Jesuit Prep. I have Lily Lopez from the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. But of course, the most profound impact has been the love and guidance of my wife, Johanna. My children, Mariana, told you. My children, Mariana, Alessandra, and Christian. Much of what I do it for them, to make them proud. They've certainly absorbed the sacrifices of the time that we all make. We all understand that without their acceptance and love and encouragement, we certainly wouldn't be here to be able to do what we do. Finally, the people that have been here with the longest are my sister and my father. I lost my mother a few years ago. You know, and as life is, my father, who was supposed to be here today, he's 88 years old. He's a cancer survivor. He had an issue, so he had to go to the hospital last night. So I'm hopefully speaking to him through the live stream. This wouldn't have been possible without him. Thank you, Papi. Thank you for indulging me this morning, and have a nice day.
Now Chief Justice Muniz will swear in the new President-elect of the Florida Bar, Roland Sanchez Medina.
If you could please repeat after me. I, Roland Sanchez Medina,
I, Roland Sanchez Medina,
do solemnly swear
to
uphold, protect, and defend
uphold, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Florida Constitution,
and
the rules regulating the Florida Bar. And I further agree to carry out to the best of my ability all responsibilities pertaining to my office. So help me God.
Thank you, Justice.
I would like to now recognize and call to the podium former Florida Bar President Dory Foster Morales, who will be introducing incoming President Scott Westheimer. Dory?
May it please the court, honored family and friends of Scott Westheimer, especially Scott's family who is here today, his mother Carol, his brother Ryan, his sister Jody, and of course his lovely wife Tia, his daughter Ayla, and his son Ari. They'll be in and out, I'm sure, their age. And of course, everyone here to honor both the outgoing president, Gary Lesser, and the incoming president, Scott Westheimer. This is sort of the Florida Bar's annual changing of the guards. That's for the BOG. For the YLD, it's the time we swipe right. As you know, my name is Dory Foster Morales, and I'm thrilled, really thrilled, to have the honor of introducing my dear friend, Scott Westheimer, as the 75th president of the Florida Bar and the first ever president from Sarasota, Florida. As a point of personal privilege, this is a full circle moment for me. I got my start in the big bar on this dais in 2008 when I chaired the convention. Jack Harkness was, of course, the executive director. I, of course, was sworn in on this dais as president in 2020, and now speaking on behalf of Scott makes this truly special for me. But before I get to the main act in introducing Scott, I wanted to be the first to congratulate President-elect Sanchez Medina on his penultimate step before becoming president of the bar, and Georgie Piedra for that wonderful introduction. You kept it clean. I'm very proud. I know it wasn't easy. And Roland, my dear friend, I'm looking forward to watching you grow this year. I'm so proud of you both, my 305 peeps. You are a tough act to follow. But follow I must. On to Scott Westheimer. When I thought about introducing Scott, I thought, like, what can I say about Scott that everyone doesn't already know? I mean, he was on social media 24/7. We all know everywhere he went the last 3 years. We know about his family. And of course, I knew I could regale you in the sort of strong leadership that Scott's shown, all of his accolades and accomplishment, how he's been on the BOG for the past 10 years, and prior to that, another 10 years on the BOG, the YLD BOG. I didn't even know he was that old. He's chaired multiple committees and subcommittees of the BOJ and YLD, and he was a major force in creating Legal Fuel and the Florida Bar Tech Helpline, among many things that he did for Florida lawyers. He has been lauded with multiple awards from past presidents, including me, for his work on the BOG. And simultaneous with his service on the YLD, he also served on the board of directors for the Sarasota Bar and was president of that bar. And he did all of this by growing a practice at his firm, who are here today, as a trial lawyer. I'm pretty exhausted just thinking about it. I knew that if I proudly discussed the fact that he is a double Gator, graduating both college and law school with high honors, that alone would get me a little bit of applause from some of the people in this room. But none of that really truly is the measure of the man, and it doesn't really tell you a lot about Scott. So while those are fantastic reasons for Scott's ascension to be the president of our bar, I wanted to give you something a little more personal. So I figured I'd share my personal observations about Scott, the Scott that I grew to know and love during our time together on the board and during his campaign, which overlapped with the pandemic. Remember that? See, some good things did come out of the pandemic. So Scott, as you all know, is from Sarasota, and since there's never been a Florida Bar president from Sarasota, Scott figured he needed to spend a lot of time in South Florida, campaigning and securing support from this large voting bloc of lawyers. And that's exactly what Scott did. He started spending a lot of time in Miami. And so we had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Scott. And one of our first major forays with Scott was the Cava Regala. Remember that? January 2021, instead of a traditional gala, the Cava president then, Dax Bello, who was not going to be denied his big party due to the pandemic, He created a huge outdoor boating event fueled by big coolers full of beverages and snacks. We spent a long day with hundreds of our Cabo friends on a yacht in the middle of Biscayne Bay at the Miami Marine Stadium, sunning and singing and eating and drinking and kayaking from boat to boat. That's a Miami thing, guys. I mean, only in Miami. And after that, the only place to end a day like that was one place: dinner at Versailles in Little Havana. That's what Jimmy said. He said, we gotta go to Little Havana, we gotta go to Versailles, and they had erected a tent so you could eat safely among the diners. And if you haven't been to Versailles, it's an institution. And that day was an example of why Scott is so great. It's like participating in that make it happen kind of feeling, the being together, the all for one and one for all, that sense of community that even with so many members of our bar, over 110,000, he knew how to bring people together. Now, Ari was a little baby, not yet the aspiring garbage collector that he is today. Ask him what he wants to be when he grows up. And while Scott was campaigning, he was being very cautious about exposing his family, Tia and the kids, to COVID. So at that dinner, in that tent in Versailles, Jimmy and I both, maybe fueled by some of the beverages that we had that day, simultaneously said to Scott, really without even discussing it, we have an empty bedroom. PJ's in college. Here's a key. Here's the alarm code. Come and go as you please. It's way cheaper, cleaner, and safer than any hotel. And he took us up on it. And so began Camp Morales. Scott Westheimer being our only ward, other than our little 8-pound Havanese, Lila, who became his trusted bestie. And Scott came to a lot of events in Miami, and any of you folks from South Florida, you saw him, right, at a lot of events. And we had a lot of laughs. I was gonna say, again, we've got the Supreme Court here, so I didn't want it to sound kind of weird. Like we'd come home after a long day of work, he's campaigning, we're working, and we'd put on our pajamas. They weren't really pajamas, it was more like sweatsuits. I don't want you to think it's weird or anything. And the guys, they drank a little bit of bourbon and rye, we broke bread, we ate a lot of yasso bars. Do you guys know what a yasso bar is? Yeah, we're addicts. And we talked a lot. We talked about everything, about life, about friendship, about leadership, about family. And while Tia and Ayla and Ari aren't in here, I know he missed them a lot and they miss him. But he talked about them all the time, and he was so grateful to Tia for her support while having these small children, allowing him the opportunity to really campaign and follow his dream. And actually, thankfully, the pandemic, as we know, has passed, and we've had to, as a family, been able to spend so much more time with the entire Westheimer family. But here are some observations and things that I learned about Scott that I wanted to share with you all today. One, Scott is earnest. Just like a super sincere guy, and as they say, no BS. Scott is diligent. Like 3.0 diligent, like every night he worked. So after the Yasso bar, there was work. He would hang out with us, and then he would say, it's time for me to go to work, and he would retire to PJ's bedroom, and he would be very productive, both working for work, working on social media, planning the next day. Scott has a hard time saying no. He wants to and will participate and be everywhere, but he also realizes that he has an incredibly great support system in the bar. His president-elect, Roland Sanchez Medina, his executive council, his board, Josh Doyle, the entire bar staff, and I know he'll use them. Scott's a lot of fun. He's also a lot of fun. Yes, he works hard, but he plays hard too, and he has a good sense of humor, which is essential, particularly in our household. My husband usually says, you do have a good sense of humor, Dory, but why am I always the butt of your jokes? And I said, you're not. Sometimes Scott is. One day, Scott showed up with his trusty key, and PJ was actually home. And PJ said to Scott, is it okay with you if I stay in your room? Scott said, it was okay. It's going to be a fun bar year. Scott is a great listener. He's willing to hear people out and take counsel from others. Jimmy and I like to give counsel, so he took a lot of counsel from us. And as bar president of this bar with over 110,000 members, Scott will be doing a lot of listening. Sometimes that's all you really need to do as president, is listen. Scott's thoughtful, he thinks about others. He once filled my entire freezer with Yasso bars, back to the Yasso bars. Like, not like a shelf in the freezer, like 50 boxes of them. And he's appreciative of others, and most of you have already been the beneficiary of that kind of thoughtfulness and kindness. Scott thinks before he speaks, which in politics is a very good quality, especially as bar president. And I think the justices in particular will be appreciative of this particular quality. Scott's a unifier. He brings folks together. Sometimes with the bar, you need a little bit of a whip and a chain to do that, but it can be done, and I know Scott will do it with kindness and grace. Scott has incredibly good judgment. That's just something you can't coach. And when the unexpected occurs, and it always does when you're bar president, you plan, people plan and God laughs. Every bar president deals with surprises. Scott will make excellent decisions. Scott has a huge heart for his friends, and he has a lot of them, many of whom are here today, who can attest to everything that I am saying. And in particular, his heart has been a real proponent of mental health and wellness of Florida lawyers, for which I am eternally grateful. In the end, though, nothing but nothing means more to Scott than his family and his deep love for his wife and children. But I couldn't end by saying that, Scott also has like this kind of cute quality, and in the words of PJ, Scott's a little snazzy. He looks like McDreamy. So these are all the personal qualities that I believe will make Scott truly a great bar leader. But I'm also a big believer that leadership at its core is making those who you lead feel good about the organization in which you are leading. It's just that feeling of well-being. And I am so confident when we gather again next year, that as a result of Scott's core qualities, his robust agenda for the bar, which we will learn about in a few minutes, they will all be fulfilled, and we will all feel really good about being a member of the Florida Bar. And the bar will be better and stronger as a result of Scott's guidance. Scott, Jimmy and I are wishing you an incredible year. Savor the moment. We love you.
Tia, Ayla, Ari, please come up. Come on, Ari.
There we go.
If you could please repeat after me. I, Scott Westheimer,
I, Scott Westheimer,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to to uphold, protect, and defend
to uphold, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Florida Constitution,
Florida Constitution,
and the rules regulating the Florida Bar.
rules regulating the Florida Bar.
And I further agree
And I further agree
to carry out to the best of my ability
to carry out to the best of my ability
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
all responsibilities pertaining to my office.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Good morning, everyone. I think it's still morning. Chief Justice Muniz, members of the court, friends and family, thank you for being here today. It's with great pride and a deep sense of gratitude that I stand before you. I'm truly humbled and honored to be chosen to lead the bar in these transformational times, and for the trust you've placed in me. I'm excited about the journey that lies ahead and be able to work with and for you the next year. I know it looked a little strange. It seems like I'm from Miami. We had George, we had Dory, we had Rolly. I thought Jimmy would come running up here. And Rolly does say I'm Jubin, which I'm still trying to figure out what that really means, but I think it's a good thing. Javi, if you can maybe fill me in on that a little bit later, I'd appreciate it. But I am from a small circuit. I'm from Sarasota. We have 3 counties and only 2,000 lawyers. And the journey to get here, all that I've been through, my family's been through, it's been something we could not have done without all sorts of people to help us out. And so I just want to thank some people for the journey. First, I want to thank the court. Thank you for your trust in the bar, the monumental responsibility you place in us to regulate the practice of law in this state. The board and I understand the magnitude of what we have to do, the responsibility we have, and we do take it very seriously. I look forward to working with all of you this year and continuing to improve our discipline system and protect the public. To the past presidents, thank you for everything you've done and given to the bar. I appreciate all the advice, solicited and sometimes unsolicited. I will lean on you this year, ask for your advice. I really appreciate all you've done for the bar. Gary, you are now a member of this group. So thank you very much for all that you've done for the bar and all the hard work this year. We all appreciate it. To the YLD, and I could serve on both right now because of my age. I know someone brought that up. Even though you do say I'm now OLD, which is probably true, thank you for all you do for the bar. Thank you for what you do for the young lawyers, 23,000 strong, the practicing with professionalism, all the basic skills we have. I'm proud of what you do. Iris, great job this year. I've never seen a YLD president connect with so many different groups. So, you were everywhere, so thank you. Anisha, I mean, what can I say? You are an amazing leader. You are strong. You are smart. I'm just lucky that I get to work with you and have a front row seat to all the amazing things you're going to do for the Young Lawyers Division. I'm very proud of you. And that Ashlea, who finally made it to a meeting, I thought that she was not going to be here all year. You couldn't have picked the perfect partner, perfect team for the YLD. So I know Rolly and I are very excited to work with you next year and do what we can do to protect the public and help our lawyers. So thank you. To my Board of Governors family, you are truly the best of the best. The hardest working group of men and women that I know. Some of you I've known for over 20 years. Paige, I think I was on this stage introducing you 11 years ago as YLD president. So you're part of the family. Brian Orr, I've known some of you for 20 years. Victor Smith, I've known Orr obviously for 20 years since he was like 12 years old. So thank you for what you do. Thank you what you do for Floridians. Thank you for all you do for our discipline system. You're dedicated, hardworking. You tirelessly fight every day to make sure we have the best lawyer regulation system in the country, serve our members and all Floridians. So we have a lot of work to do this year, but it's an honor to work with you and I appreciate it. As I reflect on the honor and privilege of serving as president, I'm reminded of the rich history and tradition of the Florida Bar. We have always been a national leader at the forefront of promoting justice, upholding the rule of law, and advancing the legal profession in our great state. But when I thought of becoming president, once I actually became president, my question always is, what is the Florida Bar's why? What is the core of what we're supposed to do? Simon Sinek said, our why is our purpose, our cause, our belief, the driving force behind everything we do. To me, the Florida Bar's why is simple. At its core, at its base, the mission's simple. Regulate the practice of law, ensure the highest standards of legal professionalism, provide access to the courts, support the court system as a co-equal and independent branch of government, and protect the public we serve. And that is it. This year, it's crucial we get back to these basics and be innovative and forward-thinking during the process. Our main focus and our basics this year and the core of what we're going to do is the discipline system. Analyze, enhance, and improve the discipline system, which I already think is one of the best in the country. We need to improve communications to the public and to our members about the system. It means investing and empowering our 111,000 members by supporting them in meaningful, practical ways. Includes helping with their daily practice of law, educating them about their ethical duties, providing them tools and resources to comply with our bar rules, and supporting their health and wellness. If you're not grounded as a lawyer, if you're not taking care of yourself, it's hard to serve others, serve our clients, and protect the public. I think traditionally lawyers get caught in a trap where we define ourselves as a profession instead of as a person, and we burn out. But being a lawyer is our profession. It's not who we are. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a brother. That's what I am first. That's what I am every day when I go home, 24 hours a day. That's why I think health and wellness is so important. It makes you a better person and a better practitioner. Creating a more successful, well-rounded, and professional attorney helps us better serve others and the public. A huge part of our focus this year is going to be being proactive to help our members avoid the most common disciplinary violations. It includes enhanced education and tools and resources early in their legal career so they can more easily comprehend and comply with our rules and our ethical duties. I want to commend Anisha. She is already making a discipline segment mandatory for the Practicing with Professionalism program, which it's never been before, and there'll be a standing board policy on that, and that'll be that way for the rest of the attorneys forever. So thank you, Anisha. We know the number of violations. We track who does what. We know what people get in trouble for. Largest number of discipline cases we have year after year is trust accounting violations, mostly technical violations. It's one of our top rule violations every year. It's been the top 3 or 4 for the last 10 years. It's our job as a bar to make sure that we make every effort we can to try to help people so they don't have these technical violations. The bar gets 1 non-sufficient fund notice a day because there's a violation. So the bar is going to be proactive in protecting the public and our members. And to address that, I'm proud to announce we've entered into a relationship with NODA to provide free trust accounting software to our members. That is cloud-based. It will tie into most financial institutions. It's something that we are going to have for our members free of charge. We're finishing it now, but it's being... We're enhancing it now. NODA's working with us. It's going to be something that will comply with our rules, allow for the triple reconciliations, everything we need to do under Chapter 5 to comply. You'll be hearing a lot more about it with press releases and everything else, but it should be rolled out in September of this year. Internally, the bar is also working to enhance its systems. We're upgrading our case management systems to get to a point where we can be more proactive in the data and see where the trends are so we can inform the public and our members of things that are going on and try to stop them before they occur and educate our members about those things. The bar just did an internal study to see what we could do to enhance the system, improve communications with respondents and with complainants and the public, see what we could do to make it a more efficient system and expedite things, and what else we can do to make the system better. And we're already working on that right now. Another thing we're going to be working on this year is financial literacy resources. You have for young lawyers and especially government lawyers, things like loan forgiveness software, things like benefit calculators to let government lawyers know are they really moving to a better job or not, and some financial counseling, because that always does seem to be something attorneys need early in the process and even later in the process. I think we've been putting our head in the sand if we don't think technology has transformed the practice of law. I'm committed to embracing innovation in technology to enhance what we do and how we do it as a business. As we saw during the pandemic, the legal field evolved and we increased what we do and how we do it rapidly, and we adapted to meet the needs of our clients. The positive effect on increased access, lowering costs for our clients are immense. But, and there's always a but it affected our connectivity and it led to other issues. And one of the issues that we have now, which is one of the bigger issues attorneys are going to face, is cybersecurity. That's something that's going to affect confidentiality. It affects our systems. So the bar is the first in the country that we know of to set up a standing committee on cybersecurity and privacy law, which will start July 1st. It's going to consist of expert practitioners in the field. They're going to help our normal day-to-day practitioners with what they need to do. They're going to work with our Committee on Technology to help us with cyber resiliency. How do we comply with our rules to make sure we're doing everything we can to protect our client data? This is especially important for our small and solo law firms, which are 70% of the bar. And you can't look at anything now without talking about AI, artificial intelligence. It will change the way we're going to practice law. Every day it evolves. It's something we need to get in front of. So we set up another committee that's starting July 1st, and it's already moving as we speak, the Board Committee on Artificial Intelligence Tools and Resources. We're going to spend the year looking at AI. We have not just board members, we have experts, we have folks from across the spectrum to really look at how's this going to affect our regulatory system. I appointed the head of it's the old RJA, I get the acronym now, but RGJPA, close. But we're going to see how's this going to affect our rules regulating the Florida bar. How will it affect our state rules? Will it increase access to justice for self-represented litigants, and how can we help with that? Is it a tool we can give our attorneys? And if they're using it, what type of warnings do we have to give them about things like the hallucinogenic effect, which we just saw in New York, where someone just cut and pasted a ChatGPT and all the cases were fake. So those are things that our attorneys need to know. We need to be at the forefront of that. Lastly, it's crucial, I think, that we strengthen our relationships with the voluntary bars and other voluntary organizations, the sections, and divisions. We have a broad legal community. Some of our organizations do great things that are in our lane. Health and wellness, professionalism, ethics. Those are all things that I think we can work with these organizations. As a bar, we don't always need to recreate the wheel. Some of the voluntary bars do an excellent job helping their members out with these things that are within our lane, and I think we can partner with them and work with them. I grew up in a voluntary bar in Sarasota. Not all of them are here. I see Kim Bald here. I was voluntold to do a Christmas in July by our executive director, Jan Young, and I didn't wear a lot of Christmas stuff, Mom, I promise. But when we were helping those kids, it was some of the most amazing things I did, and I was hooked. And I think we can be there to help support our voluntary bars, which really help our members out. And we can amplify what they do to get to our members and to help them. Now, none of what I could do is I could do without my family, my blood family, and I define family a little broadly. Who you meet across the way, who's there in your life. Maya Angelou said, family isn't always blood, it's the people in your life who want you in theirs, the ones who accept you for who you are, the ones who would do anything to see you smile, and who love you no matter what. And that's a large group, and I'm blessed for that. And my wife, the psychologist, says I need to get more in touch with my feelings, but we weren't planning on right now. I think you meant in general, right, Tia? Not right now. To Dory and Jimmy, you adopted me like family. I was at your house all the time. You made dinner, Dory. You guys were like a second family to me, so I love you. PJ, he keeps calling me Dr. McDreamy. I keep blushing, but he's my brother. He can say what he wants. So thank you all. I love you. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate it. Judge Williams, you've been a mentor and friend since I started. I don't even know how long ago. So thank you very much for doing the invocation today. It means a lot. To my brothers and family friends that are here, and I don't want to miss anybody. I see Marty and Lisa came. I see Todd, Myra, Melissa from 4th grade. It's amazing you came here today. You have created who I am as a person. I look at you as role models. I hope I'm not missing anybody. To our family, our extended family, our village, the Tyrees who are there chasing the kids, the barracks back there, whose son is in a tuxedo and my daughter's in a white dress, but don't get crazy, little Joey. Thank you. Thank you for being our family. Thanks for being here for us, and thank you for being such a big part of our lives. My firm. My loving and sometimes dysfunctional family. I don't know where to start. I started with you in law school, made more money than I did waiting tables, so I thought it was a good gig as a clerk. As Teresa said, I kept coming back, and you finally got smart enough to say, why pay him hourly when we can pay him like 30 grand as an associate to work 2,000 hours a week? So thank you. I mean, I learned everything from you. It's a, Jim, Joe, Teresa, Pete, Michael, you were the senior attorneys, you were the litigators. I mean, you threw me to the wolves right away. But I learned. Teresa took me to every trial. I was cross-examining experts, and I had no idea what they were talking about. They made more in that case than I probably made in 2 years, but they taught me what to do. They were the best mentors out there, and I appreciate it. And the family side was the most important thing, and I could go on all day. I've got a lot of stories, George, I cannot say in front of the Supreme Court about this group. They're no longer allowed back at the Gasparilla Inn, which I can't discuss. But Jim walked my first house with me. He wanted to make sure the house was okay, because I bought one. He just wanted to make sure that I bought the right house. Michael Resnick, I don't even know where he is. Is he still here? Michael showed up at the hospital when Ayla was born. Unannounced. We did not expect it. Tia definitely did not expect it. He would not, he would not go away. He wanted to be the first one to meet my daughter Ayla, and he was, other than us. So we love you, Michael. Ari was saved that because of COVID. He wasn't allowed in, but he would have tried to break in as well. But that's the type of family we have. Nancy, you're one of the smartest people I know. You're like my sister. Ken, Amanda, our newer partners, but still family. I love you guys. Maddie, our new associate, and our staff. I mean, Pat, Dawn, Holly, you've been there as long as I have. Holly, you've been to every swearing-in I think I've ever had at every court. And Michelle, you're a good friend. Michelle's my paralegal. She's the only reason I am even here standing today, between my work, between everything I've had to do with the campaign, with this with the bar. Stand up, Michelle. Thank you very much. I love all of you. It's an honor, a true honor you're here. To my blood family, and they came from all over the country, and I won't cry, Ryan, I know that makes you uncomfortable. So, my sister, Joy, my brother, Ryan, it was like planes, trains, and automobiles to get here. I think you guys got here like at 2 in the morning, some of you. I love you. Ryan and Joy, we grew up, divorced family. We bickered like other kids. It's crazy how close we are as a family, and how you two are, you know, two of the best people in my life. I'm proud of what you've done with your careers, which are amazing. And I get the titles wrong, so I'm not even going to say what you two do. But you're two of the best human beings I know. So I love you. Thank you for everything. My mom, Carol, as a divorced mother of 3, you had to sacrifice so much for all of us to be here. Working multiple jobs, making sure we had everything we need. We always made the carpools. You got us to everything we need to do. I learned about hard work, dedication, and family from you. The reason the man I am today, the father and husband, are because of you. I love you, Mom. Thank you for everything and all your sacrifices. To my other mom, Jody, my mother-in-law, thank you for being such an active part of our family. Thank you for welcoming me into your family. Thank you. I love you. And I think they're still here in the back. I can't see as well as I used to, but I see Ari's little head. So to my babies, and you're still mommy and my babies. I know you don't think you're babies anymore, but we love you. You're our world. I mean, I do everything I do because of you. Ayla, you did so well with the pledge. You just kill it every time you take a microphone. Baby, you are brave, you are smart, you are kind, you are compassionate. You are one of the nicest people that I know. And you could do anything you want. You can be a teacher like you want to, a dancer, a singer, or the President of the United States, a doctor. And I know you don't want to be a lawyer, but you really are the best negotiator in the house, especially when it comes to the chocolate you try to get all the time. So I love you, baby girl. And to my little Ari, I know he wants to be a garbage man, Dory. So he is the sweetest, the roughest, the tumble. He is our crazy little guy. He is someone who makes us smile every day. He's compassionate. He hits his head at least once a day and has a mark, but he is so much fun. Ari, I love you. Thank you very much for not yelling at Chief Justice Muniz the way you did at Justice Canada all last year when I had my swearing in. I did have a long email explaining that and apologizing in advance just in case. And you made me proud for not yelling at the top of your lungs today, so thank you, Ari. And to my wife, Tia, the child psychologist and the lawyer, and there's a ton of jokes you could say, and I really don't win a lot of arguments in my house, to be fair, but I mean, you are my everything. You're the rock. You really are the foundation of our family. You're our heart and soul. Thank you for being there. Thanks for always being my sounding board. Thanks for calming me down when I get worked up. Thanks for being my confidant and my best friend. I couldn't do anything of what I've done or what I plan to do without your love and support. Thank you, baby. I love you. And as we conclude, it's through our collective efforts that we will positively shape the future of the legal profession and make a lasting impact on our community. This position of president is truly not about me, but about us, the Florida Bar and its dedicated members, and protecting the public. I'm excited to serve and partner with really one of my favorite people, Rolly. You're like a brother to me. I love you. From the first day we served on the board together. We're gonna have a lot of fun. George is right, though. I'm not gonna drive with you. That's definitely not. I love you. You're gonna be a great president. It's gonna be fun to be a team together for the next year, and I'm proud to see what you can do. For our bar staff, and please stand up. These are, if they're here, if you're not standing up already. Now, I'm sure everyone says this at the bar, but I truly believe we're the best bar in the country, and we have the best staff. We are a leader in the industry. The amount of work that you all do to help us and to support the bar and to protect the public, it's amazing. So thank you for all that you do. We really appreciate it. I look forward to working with all of you next year. Terry Hill, I will not send you emails after 12 o'clock very, very often, but you respond right away, which makes me think you're just as bad as I am, which is something we should talk about. And to one of my best friends on the board who's not on the board, Josh Doyle. Thank you. You're a confidant, you're a good friend. It's nice to finally have someone on the board with kids. We can actually go do stuff, but we cannot do what we do without you. And we're so proud that you're our executive director. You do an amazing job. Thank you. I'm excited to embark on this journey with all of you. Together we can rise to the occasion, navigate the complexities of our quickly evolving time, and uphold the valuable principles at the core of our profession. One of my favorite quotes is, "The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing." So I'm finally done talking. I'm looking forward to doing great things with you, with my board, with the bar this year. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations.